part of our show here at fifthstreetsports.com. And now we're going to have Brian Allen on. We're going to start calling this segment the end zone, which is our overtime, which we can really go forward and talk and, really give some in-depth analysis and let Brian, because everybody loves Brian's really good stuff. And this way he can talk without commercial breaks. So we can really get in some good stuff because he was really, really high on getting all of our viewers and all of our customers to listen to his WNBA. He has great stuff on it. Remember, the one thing with Fifth Street Sports is our main goal is, naturally we're a radio show and we want to do well, but we also care about our customers and we want them to have the best information, the best way to bet, the best odds, even and our other sponsors that we're about to bring in next week, which is probably going to be a auto dealership and a solar company. Everybody that we scrutinize, all of our advertisers as well as all of our guests, to be five-star sponsors, five-star guests, because we have that option right now. We don't have to take in any garbage, and we don't have to take in anybody that we don't think is going to be good to our customers. I've been living out here 54 years, and Brian's probably one of the sharpest guys in the country, so we know a lot about scams and bad deals and people taking advantage of you. So as all in sports, we care about, this should be money you can talk about. How's that? Because we're going to help you make money or save money or get the best of it. But for now, to stay on point, let's bring in Brian because he's got some great stuff with the WNBA. Brian, you there?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Hey. Oh, good. Did you listen to the show, Brian?
Yeah, I heard it in the car on the way over.
Oh,
sounded
okay.
Good. You guys seem to agree on a lot of stuff.
What'd you think about some of the predictions?
I like the Rams over. Did you guys all have that?
Yeah, we all had that. Except I don't know about Nolan. Nolan, did you have that? Rams over.
The Rams over, absolutely.
Oh yeah, so we got a 4-0 on that.
That's scary.
Nice. And did you guys disagree on Cleveland? I know that's kind of a trendy pick. I've heard a lot of people picking the Browns.
Well, CJ and I went under. I think Nolan sat out for that one. I like under. Why, you like over on that?
I heard a lot of people saying they do. No, I don't like over.
Me either. I mean, come on. Getting the Browns to win 6, that's enough, Come on.
I am a Baker Mayfield believer, though.
You are? So, now that it's your chance, what do you like in all these NFL win totals?
Well, generally speaking, I know we've talked about this in the past. My philosophy is always, when in doubt, go under and do a little bit of shopping. And if I'm betting unders, if I'm betting season win totals, I feel a lot better about my card if it's 75% unders.
So do I.
I'm a contrarian guy, and I know that that's where the value is. So.
Me too. Now, speaking of that, Brian, now check this out. You know what I did? I added the aggregate numbers in each division, okay? The highest division was the Bears, the NFC North. They got 34.5 wins. So they have Green Bay and Minnesota at 10, Detroit at 8, and the Bears at 6.5. If somebody was to blanket bet those 4 under, I mean, how do you go 1-3? You would have to have Green Bay win 11, Minnesota win 11, and Detroit win 9. That ain't happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah. One of my favorite tricks going back to previous years. I think they blocked it off. I don't think it works anymore. But one of the software packages that a lot of the sports books use is a software called DGS, and there was a hole a few years ago that would allow you to, if the first game of the NFL season with a season win total, I was always one of my favorite bets was to link those two together.
And okay, so that one's a 34.5. Now here's a 34, which is the second highest, and that's the NFC South. Okay, so you have Atlanta, Carolina, and the Saints, 9, 9, and 9.5. There's another one. I mean, how are you going to get 3 teams to win 10 there, Just to blanket bet those 3 under, right?
Yeah, I agree. With obviously the ability to shop lines, I think that juice can sometimes be as much as 40, 50 cents
Yeah.
on season win totals. So I always like, if I'm going to bet a bunch of them, I always like to ask if I can get a little bit lower juice if I agree to bet, 5 or 10 of them. And a lot of
So,
times you'll find someone that will agree to that.
hey, don't you think? I mean, I don't know if they have it or not. Wouldn't it be a cool thing if they had the season win totals per division? Like right now, they have the AFC East. That if you add them all up, it's 30. To bet
Yeah,
over under the entire AFC East. That'd be a cool bet, right?
I like that.
You know,
I'll bet you, yeah, I bet you there'd be a little bit of interest in that. That's interesting. Yeah.
or
I've
or
seen,
you could even match divisions. Like look like for instance okay, you have the NFC West comes in at 31 and a half, and then you have the AFC South comes in at 32 and a half. Say you can bet like which division do you like for more wins? Minus 110. You know?
I love it. Yeah, especially if it's two divisions that are head to head with each other that year, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like if
Right.
the NFC East is playing the AFC West, put them in a head to head matchup. I think that's a great one.
Correct. If we had our own sports books, that's what we would do. We would come up with stuff
Oh,
like this.
man.
That
Yeah,
would be cool, right?
absolutely.
That would be cool. Hey, so Brian,
Absolutely.
let's now. We're starting the WNBA, and a lot of our viewers really, really want to find your take and your points on this WNBA, where we can maybe make some money on this.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll talk about the season and a little bit about how to bet the WNBA, which is a little bit different than the way you bet other sports. I didn't catch it though. What was Nolan's drink of choice this
Nolan,
week?
what was your drink of choice? Because we're charting all this, Nolan. We're we're ch-
Yeah, I got a database. I got to update it.
Riesling. Now, hey, how do you like this? And I've never heard this before. I said, "Wow, Nolan, you like the white wine?" He goes, "Frank, I drink white wine when it's warm and red wine when it's cold.
The weather.
Interesting.
The weather, the weather. That's interesting,
Yeah,
right? That's interesting.
I never drink white wine for the record.
Me either. I had one only for Nolan because since he was the host, I figured it'd be bad luck if I didn't have a glass. I figured it'd be bad luck if I didn't have a glass of his wine.
If you didn't have my white,
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the WNBA and why it's different. First off, WNBA has a relatively unique fan base, should we say, right?
Right.
Not the same types of people you see at a NBA game or an NFL game, right? The basically divide fans into three groups. The WNBA. If you go to a game, I'm actually a fan, but I'm not. I'm not in the WNBA market as of the moment. But your three groups, if you go to a game, are lesbians, elderly, dads, and daughters. Right? That's the three groups. Uh,
Oh, that's funny right there.
and unfortunately, those aren't really big betting groups.
Right.
So a lot of what we get, like in the NFL, where we're looking for public money, to come in and you know, uh, oppose that public money. We don't really get that opportunity in the WNBA, right? Because
No.
uh, for whatever reason, lesbians aren't typically associated as big sports bettors. Elderly, same thing. Dads and daughters, maybe the dads if they're cool. But so we got the three biggest groups of fans, and they're not betting. So here's the NFL, NBA, big public sports. We're looking for that contrarian angle, right? We want to see 70% of the public on one side, and we want to see the sharp money come in and oppose it. We want to run to the sharp money and away from the public, and that's the formula we're going to use for the majority of actually all public sports, right? So that's why if you see us we got a really good handicapper this year, Carter Andrews, who's posting plays for us. You notice, I don't think he's posted a big favorite all year. He bets, he bets big dogs. You see him frequently opposing the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Cubs, right? The big public teams. Well, in the WNBA, because there really isn't that phenomenon, it sounds kind of weird, but in the CFL is like this too, by the way. We are going to run out and we're going to try to observe when the sharp money gets down in these games, and we're going to run with them because the lines, frankly, aren't that sharp, and a lot of these sharp guys manipulate these lines. So when the lines come out at, they typically come out overnight, the night before, at a very select group of books. Actually, Bet Any Sports is one of those books. You'll see a lot of these sharp guys trying to phony these lines up. They're trying to frame these lines, put them right where they want them. They're not going to bet them the night before because there's no market. If you happen to come across a bookmaker who's giving you 10,000 on overnight WNBA, that'd be phenomenal. But that guy doesn't really exist. So most of these guys, wait until about 11 Eastern the next morning when the market is fully available, and then it's just a full-on jailbreak. They just, they're betting every account they have. Everyone's trying to get on the right side, around between 11 and noon Eastern. So you got the sharp guys going anywhere they can go, even the littlest accounts, because it's hard to get down. So these guys are taking $200 bets, $300 bets. And my advice is, you don't want to necessarily lay a horrible number, like 2 or 3 points worse than what they lay. But, if you can get a point to a point and a half, that's good. And follow that angle. And then on the second halves, it's a similar phenomenon. Don't try to guess until you know for sure, right? The old adage, don't go until you know. Second halves, one of the most profitable markets all of betting, second half WNBA. But it's worth waiting, 30 seconds to a minute, maybe missing out on that key number to get the number that is right.
Now, do you think that there's any way, because I know in the second half you guys are phenomenal, and the guy that we have is phenomenal. Is there any way that second half WNBA, if people are, plugged into our site, that we could release them to plays, that they would have enough time to maybe get down on them?
That's an interesting thought. I'll have to ask Carter about it. He's kind of the pick guy, but I suspect one problem we're going to have is, I know Carter likes to bet, just like I do, at halftime. And I know, Frank, we've known each other a long time. When it's go time, no one really wants to go to social media and type out a post when time is of the essence. So maybe we can automate it, though. That's something that
we should work on that. I mean, because then the people have tuned into our site. Boy, if we could figure out a way to get them that, I'd really feel good about the information that we're getting them. On top of the picks that you're putting out now that are phenomenal, Nick's going to come in with the soccer. Could you imagine if you could figure out a way to get the WNBA second halves? I mean, they would be on our site the whole time. Forget it. We'd be like Google to sports, We'd be sports Google.
Carter was asking me the last couple of days if we wanted to post Mexican baseball. He gets really good Mexican baseball, but the market is so thin. And I don't know that. I think a very small percentage of our listeners and, followers have access to bet Mexican baseball, but
I'd still do it. I mean, there's some sharp guys that are on our site. They would love it. I would do it.
All right. Let's see if we can.
So the WNBA, okay, if you think that it's a jailbreak at 8 a.m.
Uh-huh.
and then you just informed our people that are that are with us that they can go ahead and even if there's a minus a point in equity up to maybe a point and a half, if we release them to them and they bet them at that number, let's say it's a 4.5 and they got a 5.5, do you recommend that they could still make money even with losing that whole point of equity?
Yeah, absolutely. In the WNBA, the answer is yes.
Oh, then
Yeah.
we should do it. We should. I mean, I really want the people to really. I want to be proud of our site, and I want the people on there that are on there and watch us and follow our stuff and listen to us that they don't really realize between you and Nolan and Nick and the information that they're getting would be like a $5,000 a month tout service. It really would. It really would.
Yeah. I totally agree. Sometimes I know Carter and I will talk, and we're kind of surprised. We're just giving this away, and I see tout services charging, outrageous fees, and I know that we're giving out a superior product, and we're doing it for free. But hey, whatever we got to do to get the site promoted,
I really do.
I'm for it. Yeah.
I think we've got a great team. I'm proud of our site and the fact that we're not out here telling everybody we're 9-1 and just picking a streak like all these other 50-50 handicappers. I know for sure because I know the money that we put through the cage, that the stuff they're getting from you and Carter and all these guys is beyond top of the line stuff.
Yeah, it's absolutely top drawer stuff. Now I got a question for you guys. Have you been to a Aces game, and do you plan on going to any Aces games this year? Be honest.
Only the okay. First of all, I bet them at 125-1 because 8 of the 12 teams make the playoffs, and I'm from Vegas, so I went ahead. Everybody laughed at me with the Knights, but I didn't bet them either. But they laughed at me. By the way, did you see how when they put up that 4-1 on the Knights before the Sharks thing, how it's played out? You would have laid $1.25 against the Sharks, so your 100 it looked like 180. Now you're getting $1.30 or $1.40 against Winnipeg, and then you're going to get 8 or 9-1. But getting back to your Las Vegas Aces thing, unless there's like a free show or a free steak dinner along with the ticket, I may not make it down there. That's sad. That's sick. I should try to go.
You should go. The games are well produced. They've got they got good stuff. I know if I take my kids or their friends, the thing I think that they like more than the game is just the bullshit that happens between timeouts. Shooting T-shirts with a bazooka into the stands, or
right.
the Chinese lady on a unicycle that throws plates on her
Right.
head. They got all of that at the WNBA. They have the same entertainment that the NBA has, during the breaks. So
then I'm gonna
pretty
go.
good.
I'm gonna go just for that. And you know what? I want to retract that. I want to support our team. I want to support Vegas. And with all that kind of fun, I'll go to a few games and I'll even Skype you in from there. I'll say, hey, I'm at the Aces game, middle of the third quarter.
Hey, better yet, I might come out and go to a couple games with you out there.
Oh, I'll get us tickets when I know you're coming out.
I'll tell you a funny WNBA story. If somebody can find this, I'll be impressed. About 6 years ago, I took my daughter. Actually, no, I didn't take her to the game. She was at the game. She was in some summer camp, but the summer camp went to the game, and rather than pick her up at the end of camp on the other side of town, I said, "I'll tell you what, I'm just going to go to the game myself, and I'll find you in the arena. I'll sign you out of school, in the fourth quarter." So I did. I got her in the fourth quarter, and this is where it gets kind of funny. At the time, this was the very first year of. This is more than 6 years ago, I think, but this was the first year that the Tulsa Shock played in Tulsa. And previously, they had played in Detroit. They were the best team in the league. And they relocated to Tulsa abruptly. and the players were not informed. And on top of it, they hired Nolan Richardson to be the coach. And the players weren't happy about this. He was going to run his 40 minutes of hell offense. And one thing you might not know about women's basketball, in the NCAA, there's no 8-second timeline or 10-second timeline to get the ball across half court. The WNBA does have that rule, but no one's really ever run a full court press to try to see if they can, break teams. The idea with Nolan Richardson was that he'd be able to, with his press, that WNBA point guards wouldn't be able to get the ball up court, and so that was the idea. They hired him. Well, here's what happened. They sucked. They were the worst team in the WNBA. It didn't work. The players hated him. A lot of them abruptly retired, and this became like the worst team in the entire WNBA. And it was hilarious how bad they were. So I sit in the second row, right behind the bench. They were playing Atlanta, I think, Atlanta or Minnesota, on national TV on the NBA network. Right, every team gets to be featured on one or two broadcasts, and this was Tulsa's week to be on national TV. So I guess this was, I think this was a bet I lost. Actually, I had to do this. Someone made me do this. I'm not sure the circumstances, but I sit in the second row, right behind Nolan Richardson, and I put a paper bag on my head to watch the game. So if you're watching national TV, you see this guy with a paper bag on his head sitting right behind Nolan Richardson. And he was pissed. Every timeout they would take, he just glared at me. He wouldn't even call it plays. Not that I know that he ever called it plays, but he got the stupid dry erase board out. I could feel him like breathing on me. It was... And they had a bunch of security guards, in those, red blazers that are the security for the arena. And they were clearly trying to remove me from the stadium, but because I was there on, in the camera frame, they weren't sure how to go about doing it because, hey, it's, maybe this guy really does have the right to wear a paper bag on his head. So, after the game, a reporter for one of the local stations, CBS, I think, came up and interviewed me and said, "Hey, we want to interview you, but you got to do the entire interview with a bag on your head." And we did the interview, and it went viral. It was shared on YouTube and Twitter. And I looked for it last month. I couldn't find it, but if someone could find it,
I'm gonna look to find it now. That is funny right there. Oh, you know what I was gonna tell you? Like, you got all that UFC stuff that I sent you on the text, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I forgot to forward it to Carter. I should have sent that to Carter.
Now I put it on our site. The one I'm talking about. Also, they wanted me to tell you to add Lemonchenko to go the distance at plus 135 tonight.
Is that a Chinese dish?
No. No, that's that Russian fighter.
Oh.
It sounds like a Chinese dish. No, it's that fighter. It's that fighter, Victor. I think it's Victor Lemonchenko or something. He's like minus 1,600, but all he does is just do like the Mayweather thing, just dance around. So they like that to go the distance. If we can want to post that for our customers or our viewers. But that's funny right there. Well, I guess we'll get ready for the WNBA, but I want to tell all of our viewers and our listeners and everybody that's watching us, please watch for our WNBA stuff. If we can try to get you the second half in time to bet, we will. But watch for Brian's picks or any of our picks on Fifth Street Sports. There'll be a consensus on all of our WNBA. It's very, very profitable. It's one of our strongest suits. And you should be, plugged into our site. It's up now, fifthstreetsports.com. And also, don't forget, betanysports.eu. It's a, $1,000 bonus, 50% bonus up to $1,000 with reduced juice. I think everybody should play over here. Remember, they take Bitcoin, they take everything. Speaking of Bitcoin, Brian, I'll talk to you about that later. They take everything over there. So
Awesome.
I don't know why not play there. I have no
Yeah.
idea why they wouldn't play there.
Reduced juice. I can't go wrong. I don't know why anybody would lay 110 when you've got options that are reliable.
Yeah, with a bonus.
Charging reduced juice.
With
Yeah,
the bonus.
plus the bonus.
Now, Nick
Yeah.
is in, the president here, our main guy, Nick Gerber. He's in Colorado. His son's graduating college. Then we
Nice.
had Nolan
Congratulations.
was a fabulous host on today's radio show. So I think we're doing better and better, and our site looks great. Oh, look at this, Nolan.
I just fired a bet.
Nolan actually bet this. Can you believe it? Lemonchenko over.
Oh, I bet
Nice.
65 to 1-3.
Yeah. So
Do we have a Eurovision result yet? Did you guys bet that?
Eurovision?
Right.
No. I mean, I bet who's going to be on the Iron Throne in Game of Thrones. I bet
midget.
that little Tyrion Lannister. I got
Right.
a nice price on him. But Eurovision, who won the Eurovision? Do you know?
It's probably Indian about right now. I don't know. I know it's a big betting phenomenon for a lot of the world, not so much for the States.
Now, do you get involved in that also?
Only if somebody like you gives me a really good play and
Oh.
I have a good price. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I got nothing.
But
on
it's
Eurovision.
nothing on Eurovision. I can't wait until we actually. What I'd like to do is find someone that has good esport picks, and
Well-
I think that's going to be something that would be good in the future also.
Well, I think it's Chad, from egaming. He might be on the next show with you, so you may get your wish there on esports because I think that's huge. Nick is right. All the millennials are betting the crap out of that, and I do have another guy that's running a site called GoGowie. GoGowie.com. You got to go in through a VPN. It's an Asian. It's only esports. That's all it is. Just betting on
Really?
esports. Betting on esports. That's all it is. GoGowie.com. But
Have you been following this controversy with these devices called loot boxes and the things you can do with them? There's supposedly an emerging market that's developing so that you and I could log on and play Fortnite or
Really?
World Cup soccer or anything, and we could actually go to a site and post up Bitcoin or whatever money they take, and it would be like playing a heads-up poker game. The house would take its rake, and the winner of the game collects the money.
wow, great idea. See, there's another great idea. Just match guys head to head and say, they each put up 103, and the winner wins 100.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably a bad idea if you and I actually went out and did that, though,
Why?
because I can't imagine that there's anybody. I might be able to beat you. That might be it. You might be the only guy I can beat.
Well, yeah, because I'm missing a finger. You know what I mean? So
Oh.
I'm not. Yeah. So there you go. So you're picking on the amputees here. So
Maybe there is a special esports, like they have special
oh
Olympics,
yeah,
wheelchair basketball.
that's right.
Perhaps there could be an esports division that you could dominate.
Yeah, like do they have esports special thing like the Special Olympics? Do they have esports for special people with missing like a finger like me or something like this?
It needs to happen.
You know what I mean? Or if you can't see that good, you know what I mean?
Yeah, which I can't.
Right? If you they got to have a special one. That's
Let's
like
do it.
you know what? My little nephew actually told me the cutest little clean joke the other day. He comes to me, he goes, Uncle Frank, why can't dinosaurs clap?
Why is that?
Because they're dead. from like a little nephew. I thought that was funny. He goes, they're dead. He goes,
That's awesome.
I said, okay, thank you. He got me on that, the little guy. That's like my wife asked me the other day. She said, How many women have you? How many women have you slept with? I said, just you, honey. I was awake for all the others. Of course. Now I'm suffering sperm pressure. So, but anyway, well, it's a great show. I can't wait to start the WNBA, and I guess maybe that's a wrap for our listeners this week. What do you think?
Sounds good. Yeah, I'm gonna go grab some Lomachenko and bet some Lomachenko.
Okay, brother. Thank you very much. And everybody, we'll see you next week here. Oklahoma Brian and Frank here from FifthStreetSports.com. Thank you for listening to the overtime part, which we're going to now frame it the end zone part of our show. And we'll see you next week. And stay tuned to our site. Our site is out there now, FifthStreetSports.com. Thank you.